Hey guys, Irrigation here. Back today, and we're going to actually begin the process of doing the drip tubing up top. We're going to get the fittings done, take the top caps off of our PVC, fit it up, and start running drip tubing. But before we do, I need to put down some weed block. Now, one of the benefits of having 4-foot wide beds is the fact that you can go and get a 4-foot roll, 4-foot wide, of weed block. Our local Ace Hardware had 4-foot wide, 50-foot rolls for $49.99, I think. Went down to Sam's and they have 4-foot by 225 foot for $29.99. So that was a good deal. But here's the benefit: 4-foot wide, 4-foot wide, voila. Much less cutting, nice and easy. We'll just make some slits for the pipe and put her down. I've gone ahead and pinned around the edges and right here. That way it'll kind of hold it in place. That way as we roll it out, I can make a little slit for the pipe and we can roll on down. Got my assistant here. Mrs. Reaganite, you ready? Let's go. Pick up on the end here. Bring it up over this. Right there, lift it up a little. All right, we've got the weed block down in both long beds, in our cantaloupe teepee box, even in our watermelon run, and we've got it over here in our smaller bed. Now, if you don't have any of those stakes, if you get weed block and they don't supply you with the little hold down stakes, you can make some real easy out of clothes hangers. Now, the next item on the agenda is getting this into that raised bed over there. I'm going to do it right now before I do the final PVC fittings and take the caps off of the top. That way I don't get any dirt and contaminants in there. But I'm going to take this compost and I'm just going to put a thin layer along the top. What I'm thinking, here's my thinking behind this. Instead of doing mulch, at the end of the season I'll be able to pull the weed block off, let it fall in, grind it up, and then I can cover it, keep seeds from growing and stuff like that. But when I do the drip tubing on top of this compost, what I think I'm going to wind up with, since it's going to be chlorine free thanks to the filter, is it's going to percolate through the compost, down through the weed block to the root zone, and it's going to be kind of like an instant compost tea. That's my thinking behind it. We'll see if it works or not. Sometimes you never know who's going to swing by Reaganite's garden. Well, when it comes to putting in drip tubing, I'm doing something a little bit unique here. I had to put in another ball valve. Remember when I told you to get 2 of everything? The glue apparently got into the ball and it wouldn't turn, so I had to replace that. I've got one that'll turn now. I've gone elbow, elbow, and down, and then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to start my run, but I'm going to have 4 lines running. And so I'm going to come up and tee, and then I'll elbow, have another tee and elbow. But when it comes to putting this stuff in, it's really simple. Take your cutter, measure out how much line you need. You want to go about to the halfway point of these. I know I'm going to come up here, and it never hurts to cut off a little more than you think you'll need. As you can see, I'm a little short here. I'm going to have to build that up with some compost there. That's no problem though. So I'm going to cut it right here. You'll notice it has a little bend to it. That will come out in the sunshine. It'll lay flat. eventually. Now it's just a matter of twisting this in the back and forth into it. There we go. Wiggle it back and forth, get it in there. Going to be watertight for sure, because that's a good tight fitting there. Next we just put on our tee over here so we can take it off in another direction. Clean it off. I'm going to blow these lines out with water before I ever put my drip holes in. Now I'm going to put the elbow on for this next connection first before I do the cut. Now I'll measure her off. Right about there. Just kind of screwing it in here, or you can wiggle it back and forth, your choice. Is that part done? Just as easy as that. Now I'll put a tee over here, another elbow, and I'll run it on down the garden bed, and that's it. And then when I get ready to plant, I'll clear the area away from the weed block, cut my hole, pop my plant in, cover it back up, put my emitter in, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. How about that? Now this ball valve down at the first part of the bed is going to control the watering for all of this section here. The second ball valve is going to handle everything beyond that. So what I need to do is bring the line down, elbow, and tee back up to those other lines. That's what I'm going to do in this section here. That way I have independent control of watering from one part of the bed to the other. All I'm going to do is take this in, put it into the elbow down at the far end, then stretch it out, find my mark, and cut it off. Wiggle her back and forth, get a good connection. Good and solid, not coming loose. Now, I'll tell you something else I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put a stake down so it doesn't pull on me. Dig sells these little tubing stakes you can get. If you don't want to use those, you can always make your own. Now I can stretch it out and not have to worry about it pulling on me. Off and wiggle the elbow back and forth and get her in. There we go. That was real tough, wasn't it? Now, since my distance on the connections are going to be the same on this end as they were on the first end down there, what I'm going to do here is get my distance here, cut it off, take it down there, hook it in, put my T in, and then I'll get my distance on the next one. That way I've got even spacing on both sides. So now we'll take that cut off section, wiggle slash screw it in here, and do the same with our next tee. I remember watching a few videos on YouTube about this stuff, and I kept thinking, man, I can't believe that's watertight. But when you actually get this stuff and start to put it on, you'll understand that, yep, it's watertight. It's a good, solid, tight fitting. I'm putting some pretty good force on it trying to pull it out, and it's not doing it. And you would think that it would have to be because of all the pressure that the water's going to put on the line too. But it does a good job there. There we go. Now I'll go get my other measurement. Got my other one here. Got my other measurement here. And we'll just get her done. I'm finding it easier to push and kind of screw it in than wiggle it back and forth. You'll remember down there the line was on this side of the pipe, and my measurement looks like it worked out pretty good there. We'll just keep it up. I'll shoot some video when I get done and show you what it looks like, but you got the idea now, right? If you have any questions, just post them down in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer them for you or point you in the right direction. Well guys, I'm about to run out of daylight on my first day of actually putting in the drip tubing. As you can see here, I've started on the second zone for this bed. I did all the fitting for that line, and down at the far end I did the same thing. I just matched it up to the line coming out of the faucet there. And then I measured off. I want all of my tubing to be the same distance, and I measured off 162.5 inches. And it had bad memory in it, so what I've actually done is I have taken it and run it through my fence to kind of straighten it out. And so before I go in for the night, I'm going to take those 4 pieces, hook them up, and I'll have this bed done. And then I can start on the other stuff tomorrow. You guys remember when I told you to buy 2 of everything? Well, in the case of ball valves, you may want to buy 3. Because this is straight up and down, I glued it up real good, but I also managed to glue the valve, and this thing will not budge at all. So now I got to cut this off, and I got to put a new one on. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to glue this part coming up and elbowing into this bed, the cantaloupe teepee bed. I'm going to do that with it like this. Once I get that done, then I'm going to prime. I'll prime. I'm going to glue heavy around the base here, and I'm going to go real light just in the inside edge here, and then get it secured. My hope is that this time she won't freeze up. I've actually had about 3 of these freeze up at the ball valve, and that's just from using too much glue on these particular fittings. Something you can do to avoid that is you can get adapters that have the threaded screws, and you can buy these that have threads instead of slip fit. and that will prevent that also. And then you can just unscrew the thing and replace it if the ball valve ever gets damaged. So now I get to do that. Oh joy. There's that. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you probably can't see that there. That glue just mashed right down into the ball valve. Okay. A little easier this time on it. There. I'm gonna hold it away from the valve as well. Nice and easy there. And stop. I'm gonna let that glue run this way away from the valve. Well, I got pretty lucky with my link on this pipe. It looks like it's going to be just about right there. So now I can show you how to do the compression fitting on here. Nice and clean. Put the cleaner in. I like to do both sides at once. Let it drip. We'll go ahead and run it around the pipe here as well. And the other thing we need to do is take the compression fitting, this little bad boy right here, that we're going to put into the pipe. We're going to go ahead and prime it too, once around. And then we're going to, I like to do this before I do that part. That way I'm not fiddling around with the elbow once I get it in. So we'll get that done first here. Put a little glue there. Put it around the compression fitting. These things have a tendency to want to come back out, so you actually have to hold it for a couple of seconds. Give it a twist and just press and hold. Oh, about 10-15 seconds ought to do. And there she is. Put it in, quarter turn. And there we go. Alright, so I got it reinstalled here. And now I've got a little section of tubing. I'm just going to work it in here into our compression fitting. There she goes. Now I'll just take me some tubing and run from one side all the way around the TP. Get her done. Now just a little bit ago I did up this end, took the cap off, put the coupler on with a compression fitting, and I covered it up, keep dirt and stuff out. This is our watermelon and pumpkin bed for vertical growing. So now all I got to do is get the dirt off of the tube and wiggle her in. Just going to be a straight run of tubing here, nice and simple and easy. And we'll pop that end cap on down at the end there. Reaganite Senior just showed up. Let's see what he thinks of the progress so far, huh? Oh, and Mama Reaganite too. How y'all doing?
We're good. Hi y'all.
Well, tell me what you think so far. Take a look here.
Well, give me a minute to analyze it.
Got the watermelon and pumpkin bed done there with the tubing. Over here at the cantaloupe teepee, I teed off and just brought it around in a circle and right back in.
Very, very good. That looks good.
We got one long bed done and one long bed to go.
Have you,
Mrs. Reaganite and her never-ending effort to find stuff for me to do.
hey, aren't they all that way?
Did you hear that?
No, I'm listening.
Has decided that perhaps I should take these old beds and line them up over here. If we ever turn this into a greenhouse, which we could do pretty easy, I think, then we would have some outdoor growing too available over here. And the squash and the zucchini take up a lot of space, so we could actually put those over here to grow.
One squash will fill that right there.
Well, I'm thinking about using the tomato cages to kind of grow them upwards, so I might be able to do two.
I highly don't recommend that.
Really?
Yeah, the reason I say so is experience.
Yeah.
If those limbs on the squash are tubular,
Yeah.
and they're real sensitive. I mean, if it grows up and it has fruit on it, and it's laying over those wire cages, you can damage your limbs.
Yeah.
Which will open them up and it's susceptible to insects, and especially the squash beetles.
Yeah.
Hate them.
Don't we all?
Any of the insects that are not beneficial, we don't like.
Yeah.
But if we can find some diatomaceous earth, sprinkle around, that'll help.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets in their joints and stuff and just...
Yeah, it gets in your joints too. It's crushed sea cells and stuff.
One bed done, one bed to go. Yeehaw. Well, I've got the final bed that I'm going to get done for now done. Got it all hooked up here. Let's go take a look at the others here. I'm not going to do this bed because I've got some work to do, or my wife has me some work to do, I should say. Mrs. Reaganite said, give me some more grow room. And I said, you got it. So I've got to get some cardboard and get these boxes all matched up and built together, and then we'll do that. And then we'll run the drip tubing over here. I'm going to have to get rid of that ball valve anyway since it's glued up. Bring it up higher, and we'll just top off and run it right down the length there. But as for the other beds, we got them done. As you can see, right there. And then over on the other one. And our watermelon and pumpkin bed has a line. I've gone ahead and taken the cap off of the end because now I want to flush the line, get any dirt that's in there. I'm going to rinse it out for several minutes here. So let's go do that. There's an easy automatic on button right there. I hear it running through the line now. Let's go check it out. Water's running through the system and I don't see any leaks there. I've got all of the ball valves open and I don't have hard pressure on the line right now because I've got that end open over here. Let's go check it out and see. Looking good around the fittings. Got good flow there. Put that little cap down there to keep it from washing out my bed. But I do want to rinse any dirt in the system out. Go check our other bed over here. If we had any leaks, we'd see it around the fitting though with the water running through. Well guys, I appreciate y'all coming along with me on this excursion into drip irrigation. It's been quite an experience. You know, the next thing I think I need to do is go ahead and pop a couple of drip emitters in, seal the line back up, and see what it looks like with drip emitters going, huh? Well, let's do that too. Now, popping an emitter in is not difficult at all. It's very simple. You just take this little tool, put it right over the spot, give it a little punch, take the barbed side, pop it in till you hear the snap. I'm going to put a couple in each zone section, and we'll turn the water back on and see how she does. Well, here we go. Let's see what we got going on over here. Oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? I had one emitter fail, and I had another one that blew its cap off. Doing a good job of emitting there. Nice and steady little dribble there. Let's check out the watermelon and pumpkin bed too. I put a couple in here. Boy, that's just nice, steady and soft right at the root zone. Looks like it. Yeah, I got another failure there. See that? Cracked. Probably from overpressure, not having enough emitters on the line. We're going to take care of that when we plant, though. I'm holding off on putting all the others in until we plant. That way we get it right where we want it. And then I can deal with all of the little emitter issues. We're good to go there. We got good trickle and all that. And on the other side over here, same thing. Yes, sirree, that is going to be just fine and dandy there. Especially when you got them for every plant all the way along the bed. Very handy indeed. Multiple zones. We can control the pressure with the ball valve. Good to go. Well guys, Reaganite71 here, thanking you for joining me. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful to you. Give me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Always appreciate it when you subscribe and click on our ads. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.